firebrand is back in the news with a big alert for middle-class Americans, the bedrock of the nation. It is now more than 5.5 years since the recession began, and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren has a bold claim that Wall Street bankers have made a disproportionate share of the money because the system is still rigged. ABC's David Muir sat down with her. David.
Diane, good evening. As you know, we've been reporting here on the fight to save the middle class for years on World News. Tonight, the woman on the front lines of that battle, clearly not worried about who she's upsetting in her newest role.
It is for these people of middle income.
It's long been part of the American dream, families hoping to secure their spot in America's cherished middle class. And she is the firebrand who's made a name fighting for them.
There is nobody in this country who got rich on his own.
A lot has changed since the last time we sat down with you.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren is now a senator, and she's not worried about being a Washington insider.
The game is rigged to work for those who already have money and power. Working families, they're not looking for a handout. They just want a level playing field.
In fact, a new study shows the rich in this country getting richer since the recession. The top 1% now taking in 22% of income in this country. Warren knows those families slipping because growing up in Oklahoma, hers was one of them.
You write that my mother usually picked me up from school in our bronze-toned station wagon.
Instead, she writes, one day she showed up driving the old off-white Studebaker that Daddy had been driving back and forth to work. As she climbed into the car, she asked where the station wagon was.
And she said,
it's gone. And I just didn't understand. I said, gone where? And she said, it's gone. And I remember her hands on the steering wheel getting tighter and tighter.
Her father had had a heart attack, her mother at 50, getting her first job, a telephone operator at Sears, saving the house, but not the car. Those early fears driving Warren's fight years later in Washington to create the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to protect families from the big banks. On the eve of her new book, A Fighting Chance, tonight she's revealing a meeting with President Obama after learning she would not lead the agency that was her brainchild.
most people, when they describe a White House setting as a version of hell, you would assume would be members of the other party. You wanted to lead this agency.
Look, I never made any secret out of the fact that I would have loved to have stayed. The big banks had said from the very beginning they would kill this agency.
And the president said to you, it's because you make them nervous.
That's right. That was his line.
And did you buy it?
Oh, I think he's right. I think I did make him nervous. Probably still do.
She didn't lead the agency. Instead, she ran for Senate and won. And this was her first appearance before the Banking Committee.
And what I'd like to know is, tell me a little bit about the last few times you've taken the biggest financial institutions on Wall Street all the way to a trial. Anybody?
I will have to get back to you with the specific information.
I've read a number of articles just within the last week, and one of them is titled Hillary's Nightmare. And they're talking about you.
I don't get who writes these headlines or what they're about. I think there's just kind of a pundit world out there.
Are you going to run for president?
I'm not running for president.
There's nothing that could change your mind.
David, like I said, I'm not running for president.
And do you think Hillary Clinton would make a good president?
I think Hillary Clinton is terrific. We've got to stay focused on these issues right now.
And new numbers tonight. At the depths of the recession, 25% of families in this country said they couldn't break into the middle class. Tonight, that number up to 40% who say they can't find their place. She says she's not running for president, Diane, but she's clearly campaigning for the middle class tonight.
All right. Thank you, David Muir.